Okay, so this is a well-known 90s, pop culture reference. Clippy and the agents. Agents are from the movie called Matrix. What they do, they can clone themselves to achieve greater goal of them, like killing somebody and making them as a slave to the AI era, something like that. If try to watch that movie, you will find why I put that agents to this slide. And Clippy is a fun GIF, GIF kind of a animated character that was released as part of MS Office 97, I believe. It would recommend things, on the fly in Word, PowerPoint, Excel, that would pop up, and then it would, say some fun fact or recommend, your older documents or references, formula, that kind of thing. So this was a novel idea at that time, but it didn't, the Clippy didn't, do much that time. But if you recall that today, Clippy is a phenomenal thing for that time, in 97. So it's it resurrected itself and coming and haunting our teams. That is the thing. Okay, so today topic, Auto GPT in a normal thing, but in actually Auto GPT is an open source project hosted in GitHub. And recently it got a lot of momentum. It became the highly reputed, something like, if you ask anybody what is the beauty of ChatGPT, they would say it holds the record of reaching 1 million user in a short term, right? Same like that. In GitHub, how many stars a particular project is having, it's a good thing, and it's a milestone. I think Auto GPT got a lot of stars, or it become a trend, like Twitter trend or YouTube trend. They become top in the trend or top in the number of stars in a smaller time. So it's an open source project written obviously in Python. It uses obviously the ChatGPT API, both 3.5 and 4 versions of API. Addition to that, it adds a lot of capability, like browsing web and the web scraping, and additionally it uses context, memory, short-term and long-term memory, and there are a lot of things. What it what made it special, special means it's there's the one thing called autonomous agents. At the end, AI is capable of thinking itself, right? That is the goal, making the machine smarter and thinking itself. The other, that in a natural evaluation, the next step in that direction is making them autonomous. Already it's autonomously deciding itself. If you ask a question, it decides and then it gives an answer, right? That's the typical workflow of a conversational AI. What if let the AI ask the question itself and then get the result and then act upon it, and then it follows their subsequent task and then repeat itself until it reaches a goal. So that is the goal of autonomous agent. So the next step towards our end of day kind of a thing. So we are getting closer. So in a technical term, autonomous agents, we have a explanation there. So it's a computational system that acquires sensory data, but that's not happening now yet. but it's the ultimate goal of any autonomous agent. So it will occur and collects the sensory data in the environment and then decide itself, like the matrix agents. It will have a goal. To achieve a goal, it would acquire data and then decide on what to do next, and then it will do, and then it will repeat the steps until it reaches the goal. So that is the theoretical explanation of a autonomous agents. So what Auto GPT does is it works on a another concept called task-based autonomous system, okay, or autonomous agents. In a typical workflow of Auto GPT, you would given a goal, something like write me a React website for a to do using this and this one framework, and then host that into GitHub, and make use of GitHub actions, and then deploy to AWS. This can be a goal. So first, it will take this goal and make it as a prompt to ChatGPT. ChatGPT will provide set of a task, right? To achieve this goal, what kind of a task you need to perform. As if for ChatGPT, this is a prompt. It doesn't know about AutoGPT or anything else. So it will give these other steps. Based on that response, AutoGPT will spawn another agent, to perform a next task. Before deciding on the next task, it will, dynamically prioritize, because the ChatGPT will not, provide a context, in which order this should be performed, or it will not have a idea, in which order it will be, easy to achieve the goal. For example, there may be for developing a website, there are few steps, right? You will have to decide on the design or template, the colors, CSS, and everything. But ChatGPT will not know what will be the highly optimized order of task it should perform. That context it will not have. So Auto GPT will know the context. It knows the memory, everything. So it will prioritize the tasks. Then from the task, it will take the top priority one, and then to achieve that task, again it will reach out to the ChatGPT, and then it will go on, until it reaches the goal. So it's a something like a repeated workflow. So in a typical task-based autonomous agents, this is how it works. It has the execution agent, context agent, task creation agent. As I said, there is a prioritization agent also. This is a common concept in any autonomous agents framework or tool. This is a common, there are several, fantastic projects available nowadays. There is a Jarvis from Microsoft, and then Baby AGI, that's also open source. But somewhat Auto GPT got a lot of momentum, and it became a trend even. Okay. Okay. So as I said, Auto GPT has addition to what ChatGPT provides, or GPT and the GPT-4 and 3.5 API provides. It has these many capabilities addition to that. For example, without using plugins, you cannot achieve internet access in ChatGPT, but by built-in Auto GPT provides that. So for example, I will show in a moment. I will show a demo that was provided by the company who initiated Auto GPT in the past. So the problem they provided to Auto GPT in an initial demo is they want to search for a event in a certain period, and then pick a one event that would fit their goal, something like sustainable growth or something like that, and then create a recipe, a cooking recipe that would fit that event. That is the goal. So it would search for internet for a sustainable growth event. So it decides on Earth Day. For a sustainable growth, Earth Day is a optimal one. So it chooses, and then for that event, it would create a unique recipe. It would use uh, organic ingredients and whatnot, and then it will. Another beauty of Hot GPT is, while prioritizing and repeating repeatedly asking the question to the chat GPT, it would use reasoning also. Like a human, it would use reasoning to choose the next task, or it would repeatedly or recursively asking the chat GPT for if not able to, in a first try, it receives set of tasks, for example, searching yeah, sustainable growth related event. In a first set of request and response, it doesn't have the context that fit the end goal, right? Then it will use reasoning. This is not the answer I'm looking, right? In a typical ChatGPT environment, you give a prompt, you get a response, and then you see that the response is not up to your expectation, right? What you do, you will add more context. I want this result, but with this constraints. That's what you would, right? As a human, you would. The same approach, AutoGPT will use reasoning behind it to mimic that behavior. So that is the one. So with that, the internet access, is a required, capability in AutoGPT that is there, and short-term and long-term memory management. So it behind the scene, it uses, I think, vector DB. That's also, the vendor agnostic way. You can, because if you are using vendor database, it comes with infrastructure cost, right? So in AutoGPT, you can choose what provider you want to use. I think currently it supports two set of providers. You can decide on that, and it uses, of course, GPT-4 API version API for text generation, and it can access a number of popular websites, Google, or Bing, those kind of or Wikipedia, to search for content. So it will stay up to date in the terms of available, data to work upon. And file storage is there. And the another beauty of AutoGPT is it comes with plugins. So you can extend the AutoGPT's capability, right? Like as I said, we want to create a site. That's also that will be by default it is available in ChatGPT. If you can ask a question, it will provide a sample code. You can copy and paste and run. It will work. But as a human, what we will do, you will create a website that will result in some code, HTML code and JavaScript, CSS, images, and all. But you need a way to store it so that you can share it, right? Typically, a developer will store in a GitHub, right? So they have a GitHub plugin that can store and create a GitHub project for you and then store it. So from the beginning, everything's developed, based on plugin, ecosystem. So, for example, ChatGPT also provides a plugins, but it's in I think restricted access. So they are trying out with special, set of users now. It's not open for everybody. So eventually they will open. But Auto GPT, it's started with plugin as a base. So everything is a plugin. Making use of GPT-4 as a plugin, 3.5, Vector DB, everything is a plugin. So it's there from the beginning. So you can also, you don't have to worry about the reasoning and everything. But you can provide a capability like GitHub storage. If you want to make use of GitLab, it's up to you. You can create a plugin and then you can make use of. There is a code standard for it and framework for it. So I think that's where the Auto GPT stands. Unique capability, or unique. I would say that is the main plus point Auto GPT has. These are the, can you click on the link? Yeah. Okay. So this is the actual project that posted in GitHub. You can. So this is the demo that was aired in April 16. I think this is the AHF. I talked about sustainable growth event and the unique recipe, right? That's what they demoed. This one. If you look at the stars, it's about 1.2 lakhs stars now. No project in GitHub got this much attention. That too from unknown or very small, entity in the GitHub. No other project has this much of attention now. So they are making business out of it. But this is going to be open sourced forever. This is going to be free forever. But there will be a derivative product from this, idea that will become, maybe next $1 billion business, maybe. So that's the Auto GPT. So another person, may, start.
Can you try advanced?
No, this is. Okay. I want to show a demo. Not a problem. What it does is, so that person Sully given a goal to Auto GPT to do a market research. Our own Kannan and Raja's doing, market research, right? They will have a, for example, they want to find, a fintech company in a certain city in US. They would search for the company's, addresses, the key persons. They would do, in a workflow manner, so that they will search for it in a LinkedIn, in a Google directory, any other yellow pages, whatever, the means of data source, they will do that. And then in that, they will prioritize the company they found, and then they will send marketing, materials so that they can become a customer of EC Group. So that will be the thing, right? So what he did is he asked Auto GPT to, I think he want to create a business of waterproof shoes. He want to do a market research on that. So what Auto GPT did is, first it search for the top 10 waterproof shoes in the market, and then from there, what are their market size and what are the different services they are providing, what are the unique material they are using, what is their profit and loss, sales, everything it did. And then I think it created a Twitter handle for it, and then it started posting it. It automated everything from as if a real market researcher. It did end-to-end market research. It would take together, for example, this kind of a research at least would take a week to do. It did for this in a matter of minutes or something. That's how this this. So it's very very concerning for uh, uh, for people like us. So I think this is also a Twitter link, I believe. Yes. Okay. So this shows how the progression of the trends against this project. Um, how it in 10 days how many stars it got, in in a week time how many stars it got. So it's really in the momentum. So that's why I'm seeing good projects like Jarvis, right, from Microsoft also started following this way, and they are developing their own autonomous agent framework or application. So okay.
Sir, question. I missed that initial part. So how it differed with the OpenAI? It's under the OpenAI, or it?
For example, if you are using OpenAI or ChatGPT for your real purpose, you will have a goal in your mind, and then you will give prompts to the ChatGPT. It will give a solution or suggestion to that. You will keep on tuning the your prompts to achieve that goal, right? This is a typical man what do you call it, man directed prompts or whatever you call it. What if a machine can do that, even the prompts, right? What if it can automate that also? That is the Auto GPT. So make ChatGPT, but it do it achieve the goal automatically without manual man's
This is the open source.
Yes, so open source project.
That, in our project.
Yes, you can do that. So but you would need the OpenAI API key from your own API key to achieve that. So they are not providing it. You would get the Open API
So
key.
Developed by OpenAI, not that.
It uses Open API, so OpenAI, but it's not developed by OpenAI. It's I think significant gravitas. That is the company name that developed AutoGPT. Okay. But it uses OpenAI.
Behind the scene, whatever the call the library makes, we need to pay.
Correct, exactly. It will use your API key, so the cost will be billed to you. Okay. Yeah, okay. So use cases, we discussed a lot about it. Design a web page using React, use REST framework. Whatever the combination you want to give, it will try to. Somebody used AutoGPT to generate a workable site using React, and that is hosted in GitHub, and then uses GitHub action to deploy that to AWS from end to end, driven by AutoGPT. So that is possible. And also a to-do list. This is very very interesting and also very concerning idea. What it will do is it will create a to-do list. Each to-do list will become a prompt. To achieve that each to-do list, it will span its own Auto GPT, and then it will do it can you can imagine that can be a never-ending process. Okay, a to-do that will create another to-do that will create another to-do. Somebody says, we can make use of this to perform a DDoS attack on, OpenAI. That much potential it has, but there will be a rate limiter. That's all. But it has that kind of, and also like market research, like newsletters, podcast, and as I said, another demo about the waterproof, shows market research. That's also, it's a sample use cases. Another thing, as I said, this is the happening thing in the I missed the slide, so I have the notes with me for that. So what can go wrong? So far we talked about the beauty of AutoGPT, or the plus and only plus and no. So what can go wrong? We need to know so that we can be careful, right? As I said, your name? Vimal asked, can we use this in a real project, right? You can use it. But what can be the, real bad thing happen using AutoGPT? Because, we are talking about not only the, the prompts is made by another program that will result in another prompt that can go on. So what can, so we will discuss a bit about it also. Obviously, as he rightly asked, the cost, for a recipe, I think they used $14, bill. It produced a $14 bill for a virtual, or non-existing or non, realistic event. It costed about $14. Another bad thing can happen is, for each try, for example, I given the prompt like make me a unique recipe for a sustainable growth event, right? I can ask for another recipe, something like this. Make a recipe for my iftar. It would incur another $14. So for each try, you are doing, that will add cost to your bill. So it's very costly, especially it's not a one-time cost. You cannot recreate locally or anything like that. It will be another call to OpenAI, that will, infrastructure cost, everything. So that's the thing. And typically, if you are using a cloud service, you will not use a production grade cloud service, right? For example, if you are using AWS for your virtual machine, right? It will be a smaller size. You'll not create a $300 per hour machine in a dev environment. You would create a 50 cents virtual machine for your trials, right? But here there is no difference between a prod and dev environment. For trying out a real thing, you would pay the same cost as at the production environment. So there is no difference between a prod and dev in this way of doing it. So you will have to carefully plan that. Otherwise, you would get spending in prod. Anyhow, it's going to give returns on investment. But development, if you are paying $300 per hour, that's no go, right? Next thing is infinite loop. As I said, for example, the to-do list that it creates another to-do list. That from another to-do list, it's a never-ending, infinite thing. So it can be and also sometimes in a trial there are several Twitter. I think I can share the handle for it. I think sometimes the AutoGPT stuck on an infinite loop. Unknowingly, it's not able to use the reasoning. As I said, it would use reasoning to achieve the goal. Even though it's received the task for next iteration, it will not decide on this is the correct thing. So it will keep on prompting to the OpenAI, and then it will result in infinite loop. That's also possible. In any AI system, divide and conquer is the behind the scene thing happening. But as human also, that's how we do, right? We if you are debugging some issue, you divide some, where it happens, whether it is a front end or back end. You try to, drill down the problem and pinpoint where the actual, issue is. It's an example of a well thought divide and conquer, approach. The same thing, Auto GPT try to use, but it's not always the best one. It may be result in a negative way of doing it, and also another thing is, as I said, Auto GPT does provide a long-term and short-term memory management. Obviously, behind the scene, it uses VectorDB. That's another reason for high cost in AutoGPT. I think somebody burned about $15,000 of their AI resources recently. So,
Should tell AutoGPT budget is $5.
yeah. Recently, they added by default, in the first version, they call us a auto continuation. It would pick up a list task and then it will continue the next task. And then now, by default, automatic continuation is disabled. Human will have to tell AutoGPT to continue by pressing Y, or any key to continue. So somewhat it is secured or safeguarded now. So you can press Control C. Basically, it's a console application. So you can press Control C to terminate it.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, go
You're saying that the vector database, right? So is there we need to use that vector database separately, or that AutoGPT have that own database?
AutoGPT provides a vendor agnostic way of specifying which vector DB you want to use. Now I think they are providing, they are supporting 2 vendors, I believe, and also other, that may result in a smaller cost, because when there are so many tokens in your prompts, that will result in the spike in the vector DB. That will incur additional infrastructure cost. So it's like a ripple effect. So
currently we are using that same ChatGPT 3.5
okay.
Model. So we are using that separate database like Pinecone. So
Yeah,
the cost will be that compared to OpenAI, that vector DB database cost is high or similar.
Correct.
So,
yes, the same thing. I think how much data it can store, that we cannot control, because that's how any AI memory management works. But what they are trying to use is vector agnostic, so that you can have some control, or any vendor which is very cheap, you can mix and match that. For something you use this vendor DB, vector DB vendor or something like that. That's how it's going in a way, but I'm not sure how it will be very effective. But it is a bottleneck, this adapting AutoGPT. Vector DB is a specific bottleneck in that.
currently that AutoGPT have that two like OpenAI credential and then the vector database credential.
Correct.
Whatever we pay.
Correct.
So
Okay.
it
Pinecone is the one provider. Yes.
Whatever we, as you said, that the recursive thing,
Correct.
if that have an infinite loop, we have more cost.
Correct. Right.
Like OpenAI as well as
The vector DB, it'll multiply the
Yes.
cost, overall cost. And as I said, it's a work in progress. It's not as such as now there is no real world implementation of AutoGPT doesn't exist. It's all in the dreams, right? It's a dream comes true, but it can be a bad dream. Who knows, right?
But they build that framework quickly. And
Correct. Correct. I think it's a weekend project, I believe. That's what it started, but it's having 122K fanfare is for a weekend project is phenomenal. Another thing is Chaos GPT. It's a derivative project using AutoGPT without any restriction. they wanted a goal to eliminate human from the earth. It created set of tasks. It started doing it. It's not a real thing, but it's a prompts, right?
By nuclear missiles.
Anyway, that one human can do that control C or anything.
Yeah,
So,
correct. But
anyway,
if in anything in a technology, always bad and good, right? But chaos GPT is very concerning project. So that's it for today. I think I hope somewhat curiosity inducing session. I think that's what I wanted to share with you all. If you have an additional question, you can ask away. I think.